Three, two, one. I think it's time to stop playing, Drew, because we're going to be doing the FrameCast today.
I can keep going. It's still good.
I don't know. We can't see the Nintendo Switch, so we don't know what you're looking at. No, we can. So continue to play like this. Continue to play like this. While I introduce our great guest for today, Conor, Hydroxate.
Hello.
As you might be able to see if you're watching this podcast, he's out in the Arctic. That's because today we're talking about Pokemon Sword and Shield. Does that make any sense? It doesn't to me, but sure.
It makes sense.
To be there. I mean, he wanted to be out in the cold.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Sword and Shield, a game that released, I think, 2 weeks ago or something.
The 15th of
November.
Yeah.
So both Drew and Conor have been playing it. I'm being pretty today. I have played all the Pokemon games. I don't have my hands on the Switch yet, so I haven't been playing Sword and Shield. But because it's been a different Pokemon game since a long time, I thought it would be interesting to talk about and get you guys' experience. So far, let's start off with Conor, who is actually in the podcast and not playing at the moment. How have you been enjoying?
I can hear and talk at the same time.
No, you can't. How have you been enjoying Pokemon Sword and Shield, and how far have you come in the game?
I beat the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just basically going through my Pokedex. But no, it's great. I really enjoyed it. I think I got it on the Friday, spent 10 hours playing it, and then I got it Saturday. I woke up, spent 10 hours playing it, and I completed it on Saturday night.
Do you know how many hours you've actually played it for?
So far it's 28, I think. Or no, yeah.
And your overall opinion of, like, if you had to describe it as your experience so far?
I think it's a breath of fresh air, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some parts I think are better, and there's one or two parts that are probably like not as good as previous ones. But I think it's probably one of the better ones in the actual series so far. Okay.
Drew, you were still playing it. How are you enjoying it?
Put it down. Jeez, stop harassing me. I'm enjoying it. There's plenty of quality of life stuff in the game. I've not completed it. I've not had a great deal of time to. It might be that after this, I have to frantically go edit another video because I can't get a hold of my editor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've played either 12 or just over 12 hours of the game, and I've recently finished the third boss and the third gym leader. To me, it feels like it's flying by, and I have seen people on Twitter say that for a Pokemon game, for the main campaign, it's really short.
Mm-hmm. And would you describe that as a rather good thing for the main campaign to be short, or is it something you'd wish to be longer?
In all honesty, one of the things I actually enjoyed the most about the Pokemon games was the fact that it was like world building. You actually got to see various different people around the world constructing various different things. Like, I'm building a telescope to like observe the Pokemon in space, or I'm, doing this, that, and the other. Like one of the gym leaders, like, actually the second lead, I'm not gonna split hairs here. She turns around and actually says to you that you turn up to her gym. I'll stop moving shit around on my computer, I swear. Right. You turn up to her gym, she's not there, and you're told, hey, go find her. She's near the lighthouse. You turn up at the lighthouse, and then she turns around and says, okay, let's go have a fight. You're not going to give me a side quest or anything? It's like, you're not going to be trapped in the gym. You're not fighting the bad guys. You just wanted me to walk over here for some pointless dialogue, and then let's go fight. Okay.
It's sounds like a date.
Yeah. It's kind of like I don't know if you guys have seen the new Rick and Morty episode yet, but it's like the scene with Elon Tusk where he's like, "Oh, that sounds worrying. Let's walk over here and talk." And it's just like
Yeah.
just walk. And it's like, that was kind of pointless to make you guys walk over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how many hours have you actually played? You said you gotten past the third gym. How many hours have you played so far?
Around 12.
Around
So
12.
I've put it down now because otherwise you'll shout at me more.
All right, so I actually picked up or started playing again a new playthrough on Pokemon Ruby, and I think that I am on like 7 or 8 hours on that, and I've also gone past the third gym. So far, I don't know how much our whether I've just not been training them so much and you're training more, or how we're spending our time, but it's not so far up until the third gym. I don't feel there's a big difference in hours then, like because I'm like 4 hours almost ahead.
I think because I could do Pokemon Sapphire took me 19 hours, I think, to complete, and I was like, what, 12? And this took me 20 hours. To me, like, I would expect 20 hours for the normal kind of story. And even though I was like grinding a little bit more, so I would just bam through all the gyms. It was the first Pokemon game where I didn't have to repeat any battle again for the second time. The post game story was quite short. Usually it's a little bit longer, but sometimes some games don't even have a post story. So, but I think the 20 hours for the campaign is about average, I think, for a Pokemon.
So
I swear, like I've seen, like as I said, I've seen charts where people said, like, the main campaign's like 60 hours and things like that. So I think this one's about 20 hours, and I don't know, like a lot of game developers these days, I'm finding that, we don't need to give them a long single player campaign. Let's just let them shit on the plot real quickly and just do monotonous, routinely tasks.
Speaking of the monotonous, routinely tasks, I feel that Pokemon definitely need a refreshment, and it probably needs it more than it has already done it with the Pokedex and many features that they have changed around. Because as far as I've seen, like the battle system is still the constantly clicking A thing, where it's like, you select an attack, it does the attack, and there's like 4 to 6, sometimes 8 like text bubbles that go past where it's like, this Pokemon does the attack. It's not very effective. This Pokemon does the attack. It's paralyzed, but it does the attack anyway. It's super effective. It put the Pokemon to sleep. The Pokemon is now sleeping. Where it's like, I think that in the modern day and age, you could most likely do that better with animations, and you could kind of like leave the text out of it. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, it would be nice, but like, I think it's probably going to go to the place. Like, I think the battles now in the new game feel more like they were in the anime. If that makes any sense. Like, it looks like you're in an arena battling each other, but I think I agree with you in the way that they're very static in terms of, like, they're in this position, they're over there. Like, I would like to see them move around the field, and then even though we know the attacks are going to hit or whatever, but have them actually a bit more living. Because like when you see the Pokemon out in the wild area walking around and running at you, there's already that's like, oh, that's a real thing. But when in the battle, it's kind of like, why are they standing still? So I think that adding more life and more of that kind of stuff to the battle scene would be good. I think like the way the animations are, they look nice now. They're pretty good. I like the idea that the more time you spend with the Pokemon, the more friendship you have with it, that they can then hang on a little bit longer through critical hits, or they will cure themselves. And like, so they're adding a bit more of the more you spend with a Pokemon, the more reward you'll get in the battle and stuff like that. But I definitely think it's still feeling a little bit static, even though they're getting there somewhere.
I think whenever I played Pokemon, I can't remember how long ago it was. It may have been like the 3rd or 4th gen or something like that. I discovered that you could turn off the battle animations.
Yeah.
And to me, that was like a bloody godsend. Like I've played so much of it now, and now I'm getting to the point of, nope, I'm done with the battle animations. Get it? Just skip them. Just skip them all. No, I hate these. These annoy me. And I I think one thing that was a bone of contention within the online community was the lackluster animations for some of the Pokemon.
Mhm.
And I've got to be honest, some of them are top notch.
Yeah.
Others are absolute garbage. I have yet to see a middle ground.
So
Right.
as far as I've seen, they have some really good looking animations. Well, when you're walking around, you see them in the grass. You can have like your little buddy on the shoulder on the hat or something. You can have them once they spawn into the battle, they do their nice animation, which isn't like two different frames as it was back in the Game Boy days,
Yeah.
but it looks good. But I think the attacks are still just like it does the attack. You see the Pokemon move a little bit, and then you have just like a generic like thing that does like, oh, it does bite, and then it's like you just have like the generic bite thing. It's not really interacting with each other as like the two models are clashing with each other.
So here's a brilliant example, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Pokemon Score Bunny, the fire starter, right? It is constantly hopping between its feet, like when it's in combat, and it looks great, right?
Yeah.
When you do I think it's one of its base attacks, which is double kick, right?
Yeah.
It goes up to the enemy, right? Not like in its face, like halfway, does a kick, goes back, then it runs up again, does a second kick, right? Goes back.
Mm-hmm.
Its evolved form, Raboot, right? By the way, laziest fucking name ever, right? Raboot, what's it called? He's stationary. He has no animation whatsoever, and literally just hops, And it's like, what the hell is this? Worse still, right? What's the final form? The Cinderace?
Cinderace.
Cinderace, right, there you go. The final form, Cinderace, which does look good. I am actually going to breed another Score Bunny and just keep it a Score Bunny the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
But what's it called? Cinderace, you can learn Headbutt, right? Guess which part of the anatomy it does a headbutt with?
I have no idea. I would say the head, but like
That's very close. I will, however, correct you. It is indeed the foot.
Yeah.
what?
Right?
Yeah,
It
generic
kicks,
hit.
right? So, and like, okay, I can forgive Cinderace because
Mhm.
what you call it? Its flavor text actually describes its signature ability, which you actually get, right? It bounces a pebble, and this is how I discovered it. It was a football Pokemon. What you call it? It bounces a pebble between its feet, supercharging it, superheating it, right? And then it uses it as a meteor, right? It it kicks the pebble at the enemy Pokemon, and that does actually make an impact with the Pokemon. Other abilities that I have seen, things like Lick, right? You actually see a tongue come into contact with the Pokemon, right? There are some abilities that do interact properly.
Yeah.
There are so many that just like
It's kind of the VFX kind of. They'll give you the.
Yeah.
So as someone who knows a lot about like UI inside games and inside of general UI appliances, how does this come across to you, Connor? With like some things like coming across really well, and some things just being like this next evolution is just not doing anything.
In terms of like the animations, or
Well, just Drew described in terms of the animations. I don't know if there's more prevalence things.
Can I just clarify? You're saying UI. Do you mean UI and UX, or just
both.
UX? Right. Okay. So both. So like just to broaden the question a bit.
I think in terms of UX and UI does feed into it, but I think like this is the first Pokemon game that I felt had probably the best onboarding of anything game so far. Like when you get a new item, it shows it on the bottom of the screen explaining what it is and how it's new and this kind of stuff without you having to go into the bag. If you're in a battle with a wild Pokemon, they have your abilities, but they have a little area to kind of the quick selection of your Pokeball to throw at it. So they're doing lots of little friction points that you'd have in all the old Pokemon games without having to deep dive and do that kind of stuff. The only thing I think is that probably like a step back in terms of what the DS games was have is how you do your online communication. It's a bit clunky and a bit harder to navigate than the old like trade system, the old battle system was. But in terms of like the interface and how they teach you all the systems and how they do like the pacing of all the things of how like you get your league card and how you go for this, it's done at a very nice pace. I think it's got one of the best kind of flows in thing. Yes, the game is a little bit simpler than the previous games in terms of the difficulty and that kind of stuff. But it is done. It's done really well. I think it's probably one of the best game for in terms of UX, in terms of like onboarding of mental models and that kind of stuff. I think it's probably one of the best. And the interface is very clean and very nice, and they have a lot of breathing space. And they've designed it in such a way that it feels to me like it belongs on the big screen more than the actual handheld. The way that they've designed all the fonts, there's so much like easier to read. There's good contrast. It's done very well. I think it's done very well.
I think one of the best things that I like the most when it comes to this one is the fact that you can skip the monotonous tutorials.
Yes.
Like, this is the poker center. Do you know what one is? Yes. Okay, we won't bother explaining it to you again.
It's
for, like,
it's
the
a little
billionth time. You know?
So I think it's time that we address one of the bigger questions when it came to this game. And I wonder how much it impacted you guys in the decision of picking up this game, whether it played a part at all and whether it impacted your experience in the slightest. Dexit, all the Pokemon that have been removed, which you can't acquire in the game. How do you guys feel about it? Well, first of all, how did it impact your purchasing decision at all? Did you guys think about it at all? Did you take it into consideration or not at all?
To me, then that has always got to do the national decks, which to me is always post game anyway. So I don't care. And when they said like about half the decks, I'm like, that's fine. I don't really mind. I don't need the full decks. My last game has all the Pokemon up to date. It's a full decks. But then when they said about like Pokemon Home coming out and early things which allow you to transfer over from Pokemon Bet, eventually they're going to come anyway. There are some Pokemon that I would like to have, but there's a lot of Pokemon that I do like the new game, and I think it's nice to have your favorites and that kind of stuff. But when I get the new game in the new generation, I'm more focused on the new decks first, and then afterwards, let me go to the national decks. Let me see my favorites back then. But I don't want my old favorites to overshadow the new guys, So for me, it makes no difference if it's half the decks or whatever. Like, it's nice to have the full decks and get your shiny charm and that kind of stuff. But it would never say like, oh, I wouldn't buy this game, or I would say it as a major minus the game.
I'm trying desperately to find the list of all the Pokemon that did and didn't make it from the older decks.
Ekans didn't make it. Bulbasaur didn't make it.
Okay,
Squirtle
let's try not to just repeat what Jim Sterling has said. I know there is. Oh, is this it?
But okay, while you're looking for that,
okay, I think
did it impact your like? Did you think about it before you were getting the game, or not at all? Drew?
No. So I had no issue with getting the game with the idea that the several Pokemon weren't going to be included in the game. I mean, I think a lot of my favorites aren't in the game, especially my two most favorite, which are Persian and Rayquaza, which makes no sense because they're bloody Meowth in the game. No,
What?
can't. No. Yeah,
That
Meowth
is so weird.
The Gala region Meowth does not turn into a Persian. It turns into Berserker.
Yes.
Right?
But-
Which is a Viking cat. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's pretty
Steel
damn
type.
cool. It's just it's pretty damn cool. Yeah, it's like its hair is so like hard and it's it's a steel type. It's hilarious. But the fact that like most of the legendary Pokemon, so like Rayquaza and stuff, isn't in there, I'm just like, that just makes me feel sad inside. But so I got a list, and I don't know if this is actually up to date, but apparently Mew's in it.
I think that for me, when I saw that they made the big cut, it made very little sense to me how random the cut was, because I personally feel that it made sense that at some point they had to renew some things. I really, really enjoy the Pokemon games of past, and I had a moment like a couple of months ago where I was like, I really want to play a refreshed new Pokemon game again. Not in the sense of I want to like do an entirely different thing. I kind of want to do this thing, but then looking newer because a lot of the features, like online features or trade features between Game Boy games, they just don't work anymore because either the online has been taken offline or you don't really have like people around you with Game Boys with who you can trade. However, the thing is that over time, you're doing the exact same thing. Like the games that are coming out are kind of very, very similar. And I don't think that that's very good. And at the same time, when we're adding on so many Pokemon every generation, it gets to be an insane amount. Where one might say, is it still worth it to be adding on all these Pokemon that we end up with over 1,000, 2,000 Pokemon, which people can all catch. And if you start out in this entry, that might be very overwhelming. I can definitely see that. I think one issue, though, is that they did it half-heartedly in the sense of if they were to say, hey, Pokemon Sword and Shield was a brand new game, completely new graphics, completely new game on the Switch, and we're gonna do away with the national decks. We're gonna do away with all the Pokemon because it's gotten to a point where we have to almost put in 1,000 Pokemon. It's insane. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do this new set of Pokemon. I would have been fine with it, but it's so weird that like a Charmander to Charizard is in there, but then Bulbasaur and Squirtle aren't in there, and it's like, why is it so handpicked? That's what I just don't understand.
Actually, I want to let's. I just want to quickly. Conor, can you actually get Charizard? Can you get?
Yes.
Yeah, you can get.
Well, yeah. Well, this is a little bit of spoiler. Since it's he's only in there because the champion guy uses Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get the egg once you beat the game. He leaves one for you, so that's the only way you get Charmander. That's not in the wild. But that's the only reason you get it. So that's why they didn't add the other ones, because this is meant to be his one to show off. I still don't like the idea that they keep doing like Pikachu, Charmander, still like poster boys I wish there was like, not any of that. Like the whole like the Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing, which I do like. It's a cool new way of basically doing Mega. But the how they always use like, we're going to bring this guy again. Like, please stop giving that one Pokemon a new thing. I wish they would make it even, but like I think a lot of the terms is like when you look at the percentage split of new to old Pokemon, the first generations were always like 150 and 120 new Pokemon, and now they reduce it down to about 80, so to fill in more. I think they try to do a good balance between the different types, so like there's roughly the same ratio for most types in the game. Like I see a lot more ice, fairy, and like ghost in these games. Usually there's only a few where there's actually a lot more of them. They're more evenly spaced. But also the Pokemon in the wild are a lot more stronger as well. So you get to go to the wild area. There's Pokemon who are 60 levels. There's Pokemon who spawn in certain weather conditions. So I think they've done really well, and I don't mind them reducing the Pokedex because it's a nice mix. They have they're roughly the same ratio between each. I think they picked some because they go well with a certain trainer who they probably want to feature. But otherwise, I think it just depends on like who hasn't been shown a lot, who hasn't been transferred over. Obviously, they do give some very old ones a complete new form, which is nice to breathe new life. Because if you think of Pokemon, like what evolution would be, the same thing in different areas would evolve differently depending on the environment. So I think the way they're going is better. I can definitely see the art style starting to shift. Less of the angular anime, just paper and manga, and now it's going to more 3D and softer and more stuff, which I'm not against. It's a different look.
I find it very uncanny in the sense of if you look at the character designs, it's just like they're all like very round to the point where you're like, you're just robots. I feel like I'm walking around in a world of robots. All these people are just pretending to be people.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much I like that. It just has like this very like bubbly like it's a Nintendo style. Nintendo's had that ever since like the Mii's. They're like, oh, look at these round, bubbly, happy video game characters. Woo! It's like
I think they're also like their character design of like the people that they're making is a lot more like I think the older ones is very cookie cutter of how they made people.
mhm.
Where now the way they dress, the way they do their hair, it's a lot more varied. It kind of reminds me a bit of like like Dragon Princey kind of like animation style. It's very soft forms, that kind of stuff. I think their design is better, but I think they're trying to do it into stuff that would fit into 3D probably better. They can probably make it in Maya now as opposed to doing it in like pixel art.
Mhm.
But also they have new art directors and new people that are working for the game, so they will shift. I know I like the new Pokemon style. I do like it. It's definitely different. You can see the clear generation difference between the last two, but I like it. But it's also I think it's kind of presumptive.
All
Because
right.
you just cut out.
Yeah, we just lost audio right here.
Oh,
So
Yeah,
you hear me?
no, you come back. Yeah,
I think it's like if you look at the way that it is, like you have to adapt for the audience. Now, Pokemon is always traditionally for a certain age group, and everyone loves it. But they're probably going to adapt the art style to fit how those kids now see cartoons and see that kind of stuff. So I don't mind. It's just something that we have to kind of get used to it a little bit.
I do I do wonder though about the thing where they say Pokemon is just for kids, so you should just suck it up. That it like looks very very bubbly now, and there was a video, I don't know who made it, but there was a video where they compared the art of the first generation to the art of this generation, and it was a very interesting YouTube video. If you can find it, I'll link it below the video that's out here or something. I don't know, but the idea that they had back then when they started with the first generation was to create monsters because it was pocket monsters, and they had to create certain features because they had very limited pixels to work with. So they would make like body features like the stripes on Pikachu's back are because they could only show black and white, and then giving it stripes would kind of like break up the character and like give him some personality, some form. And then if you look at the modern day characters, a lot of these characters are essentially focused around being cute. Now, I'm not against Pokemon being cute. Like, Pikachu is a cute Pokemon. I think that there were a lot of like very cute centered Pokemon within the first generations and moving on as well. But I feel that they're kind of going over the top with it at this point, where it's like a lot of Pokemon, I feel, if I look at newer generations, I feel are losing personality, where they're like, oh, they just look like blobs. They just look like blobs that have been given like a little bit of feature, but they're all like this big head, big eyes, and like look cute. And it's like it kind of deteriorates it a little bit for me. I don't know whether that's just my experience or whether you guys agree or disagree on that.
I disagree a little bit. I can understand obviously like the eyes style that they do nowadays is a lot rounder, which is perceived as. But I think in the last 2-3 games is that they're starting to broaden their palette of what they're going to take inspiration from, which I like. Because otherwise we're going to get like generic dragon, generic rabbit, generic like now they're looking at objects, which But it's also like I think it's the whole like rose tinted glasses that if you look at the first generation, it's like it was the best. Like they still make gears and magnets into things. Like it's not like they made eggs with eyes. Like it's the same they've always done. It's just the art style is
Vault up and
like it's a ball that explodes. Like, okay,
it's literally a
well,
Pokeball.
no, that is a Pokeball that explodes.
So like when you see like now, it's an ice cream cone, or it's a Pokemon that looks like an ice cream cone, and I'm like, but like there's other like eggs with eyes that weren't even eggs; they were plants. Like but now you get to see a lot more references, which I do like. I do appreciate having better. The character design I think is more better, but they definitely do have I would say it's not cute, but it's softer. And I think they also have a lot of ones that will appeal to more varied ones. Like if you go into the new Pokemon game, there are some ones that are like they don't really look like Pokemon, kind of. But they're more like there's one that shoots smaller lizards out of its thing like a jetpack.
I love that. I want that one.
its base form is a small lizard, and the third of evolution is like a swift bomber that has holes for the little lizards to fire at. Like so, like
Yeah.
they're not all cute, but there's definitely some ones that are like it's an interesting design choice, you know. But they have a new art director as of 3 years, I think, is now. And his whole idea is that Pokemon is someone that you want. A Pokemon is a thing that you'd want to go on a journey with, and that's all they want to make sure that that's the design. This has to be a creature, it has to be this kind. Like it's someone that you'd imagine going on a journey with and being your best. Which I think is a nice open broadsheet, but allows people to kind of say, "I want to go with a haunted teapot." So it's. I can definitely I can see where you're coming from though. Like it does look cute because the eyes are all circular and. But when I was looking at a video, I think it was by a channel called Subjectively, and they were saying that apparently, like they had the original Pocket Monsters had a few, but the rest of the Pokemon art was drawn from the pixel art and not the other way around. So they made the monsters in pixel art, and then they made the comic and all the rest of Pokemon from the pixel art itself. So that's why it's a lot more sharper and a lot more that kind of way, you know. But as of nowadays, obviously, people draw better. We had pixel art that was much more sprite based in like the middle generation, and you get more colors, more palettes, and that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But I think there's some truth, but I agree on the whole that they're just being like very cute and very like the designs are a little bit different.
I do agree that the designs are different, but I do feel with this generation and the previous generation, the designs have a lot more character behind them.
Yes.
So like you can so easily see like the English and even European influences that the Pokemon have in this generation of game. Like, you know, Teapot and what's it called, Teacup. There's oh god, there's so many others. Surfatch. I want a Surfatch.
Yeah.
Because it is just absolutely hilarious. The fact that Ponyta and Rapidash are now fairy types as opposed to fire types. There's so many nice, quirky things that they have done to make the generation like an independent generation rather than just, oh, well, we've always got to have Pikachu. I wait for the day when there's a variation on Pikachu.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I think that when it comes to the new Pokemon installments, I think that the biggest problem, which was the Dexit idea, the thing that things were cut, that it wasn't the same as it used to be, kind of comes from that people feel that, oh, this is still the same game that we've been playing for, which Pokemon has really gone down this route for like a long time, where you could carry over all your Pokemon from like the last game to the next game. You could take them with you throughout. Like you could start off with the Game Boy, you could end up with like the 3DS or whatever. I don't know if the last game was on the Switch or whether that was 3DS. Anyway,
no, it's 3DS.
So up to the 3DS, you could take them with you. So like you could theoretically just start off with like a Pikachu in like the very first game and still have that same Pikachu with you in the last game, and now like, can you still carry those over? Well, maybe Pikachu, but not the rest. And it's like, and that hurts for people, especially when Persian or Rayquaza or Ekans or Squirtle, if they are your favorite Pokemon and you can't carry them over, when they've been selling this idea of like, oh, this is your journey with your Pokemon, then that I can really understand that hurts for people that have been doing that. However, I think that for them it's way better to start seeing this game as a brand new thing. It's like, it's still in the Pokemon line, it still follows some story beats, but it's a new thing. And maybe I've seen people already port over animations of like the previous game to like the Switch, where they have mods that you can get in all the missing Pokemon. It's like, well, maybe like, I don't know, when it comes to post game, it would maybe be nice, but then just like don't do much with it. Like, oh, you can just have them with you, but whatever. It's like, I just feel that it might be a better solution to all of this if it was just very clear right from the start that, hey, this thing is just new. This thing is just a separate game, new entry. enjoy. Because I feel that right now we're like on this weird gray area where people feel that, oh, it's just a continuation of our series, of my journey. But then if their Pokemons that they've taken on with them aren't in there, then that really sucks. And then the entire game stinks. And it's like, what's a new game? And it's got new designs, it's got new characters, it's got a new storyline, which is super similar to the previous ones. But yeah, how do you guys feel about that?
I don't mind because I just posted a picture there. Like, we're going to get Pokemon Home soon, like in March or February. It's going to cost like $5 or $10 a year to host all your Pokemon, but it allows to get you from the Pokemon Bank, which if you had Pokemon Bank, like I still do, it has like 800 Pokemon from all the previous generations that I did from all the way back from Ruby and Sapphire. You know, so eventually you will be able to use them. It's just you won't be able to use them off the bat. But like, they're not saying like if you Pokemon Bank all your stuff already from the previous games, then you can transfer to that, and then maybe not all of them will get into this game, but maybe the generation or the next game afterwards, you can get the remainder of them. So like, if you've been doing the journey all along, as you say, and you've been using the software that they give you to make sure you can transfer over into each game, then there's going to be no problem of it in a few months or in the next game either to have all your Pokemon. So it's kind of like, I think it was more like the knee-jerk reaction to them only showing that there's only going to be half. Like, you will have them. Like, currently now we have half of them anyway in the new Pokédex, and then soon you might have all of them, if not 3/4 of them. But you just need to wait. I think it's also just kind of like I like the idea that you're saying, like, how it is a brand new game, a new life, and it's made for new people. But I think as the original people who are playing it, also as they can't really be expecting it to drag on the way they remember it, because things obviously happened in the 90s and stuff like that. But like the mechanics and the storylines, you said, they do have the similarity. So all that's changing really is the creatures that are coming into Pokemon, you know? I just think people need to wait and just be patient. Like, if you've hacked it and you have all your Pokemon straight away, well, yes. But if you're playing the game currently as it is, you probably won't complete the decks until January maybe, or late January. Then you only have to wait a short time before you get your Pokemon back. And a person who completes their decks will probably already have Pokemon back. Yeah.
I think one of the big things though is like, I think there's a multitude of different reasons behind why should this happen for Pokemon. And one of the biggest things I'd like to see in Pokemon is, let's change it from, there's generational games, there's Pokemon 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Let's just make it as a game as a service, and then make it a living thing. I'd love it if there was an expansion to Pokemon Sword or Shield where you go to another region. You physically go as your character to another region. But they are in this mindset that the game should always have you start again from the beginning. I don't like that.
No, I agree. I think that you hit a very important point, which I've already heard other people say, including Jim Sterling, where they're talking about Pokemon is actually a game that could work really well as a live service, because I think unlike other live services where people try to sell like a shitty base product and then hope that will catch on in order to like see if they want to support development, this game has actively been in development. This series has been in active development for years. So the chance that this will exist for years is pretty good. Like, they've already been doing this since the Game Boy days, is I think 1999, was it?
Sounds about right.
And they're doing it 20 years later. And I think that for them, in like having to redesign a game from the ground up, with like every iteration, is more work than just having this storyline where like having this game which they can just continue to update. And I think it would also save you a lot of work when it comes to buying a new game every time and restarting and then learning about, oh, this is the Pokemon professor. Oh, you need to find gyms. Oh, you need to go into grass to find Pokemon. It's like, we know all of that. because we played through it. The one thing that I'm worried about with that is, okay, so how would we, if we make Pokemon a live service and there would be a new entry or a new update added, which would then be Pokemon Sword and Shield, how would you go about the new region? Would you still explore it? Would you...
I have an answer. I have an answer.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I've been thinking about this. While we've been talking, I've just been thinking about this. Why not have it so that you, as a player, can start at any region, right?
Mhm.
Say we're first-time players, and the Gala region is the first one, right?
Mhm.
And then they bring in the Kanto region, right? That's the second region. When the second region comes in, you can choose to either start at the first one or the second one, right? But then how do you take your character when you want to transition, right? Simple solution. You're going to visit your relatives, right? In the other region.
Mhm.
But you can't take your Pokemon there because, I don't know, was it border control, right?
Mhm.
You can't take what's it called, various different breeds of animals to various different places, different countries and things, until they have been quarantined for long enough. And but it's true. You could do that. You could so easily do that, and you could start the game again. But then at the end of it, you get all the Pokemon you had from the previous region, and you can easily go between them,
Mhm.
right? And like, okay, so because I'd love to have the same one character to see me through all the generations, but I'm not, I wouldn't be opposed to say, well, what if I want to change my ethnicity? Well, okay, fine, change your ethnicity. We're just talking about customization at this
Yeah.
point. I mean, I was really sad when I started the game. I thought, oh, these all the bloody hair choices I get. It's bloody lame. And then a friend of mine turned around and said, no, you can go to a hairdresser's and get your hair changed. I'm like, oh, redhead, I'm done.
I actually I would really love for this idea where you can unlock regions in the world, because I think that I've had a really great time going through many different regions with my Pokemon adventures. I've kind of I fondly remember something like Pearl or Fire Red or Ruby, which I'm playing through right now. But the thing is that if you want to get into those regions right now, the only way to do it is to buy a secondhand or old system and then buy the old game and then plug it in and go play that game. Where I think a lot of people that are getting into Pokemon now are just missing out on that content because they don't have access to it. And I think that it would be really great that if you're entering this Pokemon universe, you can choose which generation you want to start off in. Whether you want to do the brand new one, whether you want to do the very first one, you can choose which one is your favorite. And then you can unlock different parts of the world, because you can go to the different regions. And then it actually feels like this is the Pokemon world, which they've been trying to emulate with different games every time. But instead it's just one big game which you can just join and be a part of. The only thing go ahead.
I also wouldn't be opposed to them turning around and saying, right, okay, you can play regions 1 through 5 on the Nintendo Switch, but when we come out with the Nintendo Lightbox, that's when you can play regions 6 onwards. But you get to still keep the same account, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Nintendo, I don't know what their profit margins are like, but I'm pretty sure Nintendo are doing a pretty damn good job when it comes to money. And the fact that the price of the Switch skyrocketed before the release of Pokemon, I bought this with Mario Odyssey for £270, right? Now you can't get the damn thing alone without it being £280.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It shot up in price. And friends of mine were like, oh, I'll get it during the Black Friday. No, it's more expensive during Black Friday than it was, 6 months ago. So, yeah. But I strongly feel that being able to transition from generation to generation on different consoles is something that we have to accept as gamers, because the game's not on PC. And this is a problem that Destiny 1 had, where the last patch of Destiny 1 could not run on the Xbox 360. You had to have an Xbox One in order to play it, if memory serves.
One thing I'm worried about is that what I really like about Pokemon games is that they're really cool games to be played everywhere, especially with the Switch, but before that with the DSs, before that with the Game Boys. And as much as I appreciate the internet, what we have, I really don't want every single game I have to be an always online, always connected game. And I think Pokemon was really hits their sweet spot in like, hey, I don't have the Switch here, but I have a DS, and I can just like, I can rock up to the airport, I can take out my DS, I can go play some Pokemon. Oh, the flight attendant comes around, or like we're boarding, let me close it up, let me go talk, let me go be on the plane again, let me go play. If it's gonna be an online, like a live service, an online live service, then what would come with that is, yes, you would have this entire world which you can like go into, and like it's like this one big game, but it would also be always online. And then I can't play this thing on my plane anymore, which is pretty much like, I really love to play Pokemon when I travel. I don't know if there's anyone which has played Pokemon, which has never played Pokemon while they were traveling.
I don't know. Like when I was a kid, I just remember being holed up in a room playing Pokemon. Like, you know, I'm in the living room. It's like, Drew, don't you want to go hang out with friends? No, shut up and play Pokemon. It's like Drew, Nick's on the phone for I'm busy. It's like, doing what? Play Pokemon. But like, you know, when I was a kid, we didn't travel as much, and I'm pretty sure the versatility of the battery life on a Switch is nowhere near as high as that of 3DS or anything like that. But even so, like everyone and their dog has a power bank.
Yeah,
you know.
but you don't have internet everywhere where you go. And like on a plane, you would have like, let's say for like the plane journey, if you're doing long distance travel, like you would have like a USB port. If you're in your car, most people have USB ports, but they don't have connections everywhere, internet connections. So do you think that it would be possible to have something like downloadable live service content where it's like, hey, I want to play this on my Nintendo Switch, but let me like, I'm gonna travel, so I'm gonna download this region so I can play that on my Switch even if it's offline. Do you think that's a possibility?
I mean, I can't. Well, it's just like, you know, you download the expansion to Dead Cells. I mean, it's just like you download the expansion. You need to be online to download it, but post that, you don't need to be online to actually play that expansion. And this was something that they were investigating with Warframe, and I think they abandoned it because it's too heavily integrated as being an always online service. So again, like it depends on what the objectives are. If you're trying to make something that you can have offline, then I think it's perfectly fine. If you're trying to have something where you're interacting with other players, then that's a little less. But it's like, honestly, I'd have zero issue having to download other regions. I mean, I think the only concerning thing is then you're forced to have an SD card. That's what I was struggling to remember what game I wanted to play while traveling to TennoCon. Of course, it was bloody Warframe, and I couldn't because I didn't have any Wi-Fi access or anything like that. So, but yeah, I mean, the only concern, as I was trying to say, is that you will lose all your storage on your Switch just for regions on Pokemon. But I think that's a sword I'd be willing to die on.
Or just they make a console that you can put a SIM card into.
You can.
For wireless?
You know about that? Yeah. Like if you've got the Switch, you just lift up the back. Oh shit. Can you see the red thing? That's the SIM card.
Oh, so you have wireless on the go then?
Oh! I apologize. I assumed by SIM card you meant micro SD card.
No, I meant actual SIM card. Like if you wanted to always be online, they could probably just put a 4G or 5G SIM.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
That's the easier way to do it.
Yeah.
I would actually say like make that a possibility, but don't make that detract from like allow you to download it, because I personally have a phone that does 4G, but I barely use it because like I don't like to use it when I don't need it, because it's something where you pay your phone plan for. And gaming can be very intense on your network usage, especially when it's like constantly fetching the battles, fetching the maps, fetching the tiles, because you can't download it. I would like sure have that as an option for the people that have unlimited plans and that they're willing to like go ahead and just play it like that. But I would definitely say have a download option, because I would love that.
But like the new game, Michelle, I don't know if you know that you can go to the options and toggle local or online communication and just switch between the two modes. So you can go between local, Bluetooth, online, just a flick of the button. I just think that maybe then you should just move to Ireland, where we just pay as you go, €20 and have unlimited internet for a month. Great.
Are you serious? I wish we had that in the UK.
I've had the same bill since I've been like 15, and I just top up by €20 as you go.
Have you read the terms and conditions where it actually then specifies, oh, you have a limit, and then we start to throttle you?
No, because there's been months where I remember I used to use like a 1 terabyte of data on my phone as a hotspot.
Damn.
Yeah, because it's €20. It's unlimited. You just pay €20. It's not a bill. It's pay as you go. So I just top up by €20, and then the following month, the €20 I paid the previous month would just do me text and call. And I have to pay up €20 again, unlimited data, and I still have the plan because the plan is 8 or 10 years old, so they can't change it.
Wow, that is insane. You grandfathered the crap into that.
Yeah, but because I lived in the countryside, so our internet was so bad in the countryside that it was actually better for me to have a 4G SIM card, and I just use that for the house, just the hotspot everywhere. It's great.
Damn.
So now when I go home, I switch to my Irish card and a SIM card, top up by €20, and I got unlimited data for when I'm home for the.
That's insane. Like I migrated to EE from I used to be on, who did I used to be on? Virgin Mobile. And it was £5 per megabyte while out in Canada, and I was just like, nah, jog on. No way in hell. I'd turn it off. I can pay £15 and use my entire like data plan or whatever while out in Canada as if I was in the UK. Yeah, okay, £15 extra is
what?
Yeah, but the whole, just be able to just use the whole thing willingly. That's why while I was out in Canada, I was just constantly on Twitter. I was just constantly spamming photos.
That is crazy. Dude, I remember you in the first years of Tenocon, like buy SIM cards, like Canadian SIM cards, so you could go online?
Yeah. But
they are
like
so expensive.
They are so expensive. Like not 2019, but 2018. I went to Tenocon and I was going to buy a SIM card, and they wanted $120 for, I think it was like basically 2 days worth of internet. And so it was supposed to cover like a whole month, but I was only going to be there for a couple more days, and then it was like it would be completely useless. And it was just like I'm not paying 120. I waited there at the store. Oh, this was awful. This was such a horrible experience. I don't know how anyone in like Canada put up with this, but I was sat there for half an hour with Joey and Crash waiting for the sales clerk at Bell's. I think that's like waiting for them to see to me. They have this small store with 4 desks and only one person manning the entire store, right? I was waiting half an hour. I was looking at all this stuff, and I was like, yep, okay, I will go for the plan that's only $50, right? And, I'll just use it for the data. I won't bother getting it right. No. That plan is a bolt-on, so you need to actually get the base thing. Plus, you need the actual plus, you need to pay for us to turn it on for you. Plus, you need to pay tax. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm walking. It was like, but you've been waiting here for half an hour. It's like, yeah, my money's worth more than just like, like
that is
another
crazy.
weird side tangent, very short. at work we have this Christmas jumpers day where we
Mhm.
all have a Christmas jumper. I was looking at getting a Christmas jumper today. £30. 30? No.
Yeah, that's about right for
Nope.
Christmas jumper.
For something I'm going to wear a couple of days a year. F that. Are
Oh
you
my
wearing a
god.
jumper right now, Connor?
No, this is a woolen T-shirt.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay,
fashion.
Okay, moving on.
So yeah, anyway,
Back to Pokemon.
I like the idea of the live service Pokemon system game. I like the idea of if you're able to make it downloadable on like something like a Switch, or whatever console comes up next, that would be great. And if you're able to like use it on the go with like a 3G, 4G, 5G, whatever G card, that'd be great. I would like that. I would have no problems with that. Oh my god. Citizen chat. So yeah, I think that those are some of the main things of the Pokemon game, especially the oh my god, what kind of picture did you post in the Discord? I
Wait,
can't
sorry.
pull it up. But is it a Pokemon?
It's a new Pokemon that's inspired by the Spartan phalanx formation.
Okay, I can't pull it up, but it looks interesting. To say the least. It's like a
What why have you put a picture of a butt up
Yeah.
on
I have no way to share it, sadly.
Yeah.
But
for good
I-
reasons?
can you describe it, Xeno? What were we seeing?
We are looking at I don't know if you really want me to describe this.
Yeah,
We're looking at the devil's anus.
No, dude, this is one of my favorite new ones. It's like basically like 6 Pokemon that join together and they become like a little unit, and they just march with their little feet. It is the cutest thing.
That URL doesn't work.
Sent you the.
Why-
I uploaded the GIF.
Why are we on 4chan?
But look at it. I uploaded the GIF there.
Is it?
Oh my god, that is amazing.
The little Spartan guy. But there's 6 of them that just kind of join together and like we're a squad.
Oh my god, that is purely amazing. I take it back.
Can you share that on your screen, Xeno?
You want me to share the devil's anus?
Yes, please.
Okay.
That's a shiny.
View original. Okay.
Let's
let me
see if we can get it up on the picture.
larger. Okay, and then go here. Swap to. I mean. Okay.
It's called
here we
the
go.
Phalanx Pokemon, apparently. Here we go. That is what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, like when he sent it to us, it looked like no, the original color looks awful, but like, that shiny color looks so much better. But
Yeah,
when he sent it to us, it was just a still picture. It looked like it does.
But you see there, like, there's actually in the game, you see they march around like one by one. I love it.
Wow,
Such a good
that's
Pokemon.
insane. That is insane. Right.
So were there any things that you were surprised by with this new Pokemon game? Was there anything that you're like, oh shit, I did not expect that?
I was surprised by how much the wild area was good.
Mhm.
I thought it'd be a gimmick, and the fact that like the camping, I love like the fact if your Pokemon are fainted and you make curry for them, they revive and they get more friendly to you and get XP, so they can just kind of spam making curry. I was surprised by how good it was, the wild area, and the rival. This is the first rival that I feel actually is a person.
Really?
Like his arc, you'll see it. His arc of what he goes through, like how he is throughout the story as it develops, he changes like as a normal person would, and not just kind of like your rival is like I hate you, and it's all very one note. Where this is the first one that has a fully like fledged story arc and how he feels, depending on we learn how he is currently from what is
Does he stop snorting sugar?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
'Cause
That's
he
that's the current problem I have with this. Oh man, I'm so hyped! Oh, everything's so awesome! I like rainbows! They're so cool, let's fight!
He's a 10-year-old child,
God.
But yeah, he's an arc I think a normal person would behave eventually. Like he has his low points, he has his high points, not just kind of like very one note, which I think all the rivals have been for a while. So and the writing I think as well The writing was very good, but the story was very, very good.
Anything that surprised you, Drew?
The ability to skip the really monotonous tutorials that everyone's like. I wasn't expecting that at all, and I loved it with an absolute passion. What else is there? I'm gonna say like the wild area in general, right? It's just like, you know, being able to go out there and just do all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, even though you come across some Pokemon that are just absolute pure BS. What was the Seismitoad earlier?
Yes.
Just like stupidest freaking Pokemon. It's like, oh, there's one quality of life thing that I think is absolutely amazing. I don't know if this is the first one they actually brought it in, but when you capture a Pokemon, you have the opportunity to put it in your party straight away. Right? Instead of sending it to the machine.
Is that when you have 6 Pokemon? Like you have your team full?
Yeah.
And then it replaces one of them.
Yeah, so you choose which one you want to swap out, which one you want to send back to the storage box, and keep the one that it's been great. Like there's so many that I've decided to keep because of this.
And also the fact that you can access your Pokemon box from the menu and not from going to a PC.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Though there is one thing that I did here. I was warned, and this may have been patched out or whatever, but there was a bug that if the autosave could crash, right, and as a result corrupt your entire micro SD card, and you would have to reformat. I love that one as well. You'd have to reformat your micro SD card and download everything. So that was one warning I have heard. I have not seen anyone else bring this up, but as such, I have just turned off autosaves.
Why is it that games these days, if they screw up, then that screws up massively? Like I've heard of other games that kind of like do this thing where like, oh, this bug in your game can crash your entire thing. Like I remember when Anthem had like the Anthem demo could like crash your entire PS4 and it wouldn't be able to turn on anymore. Like why is that they're just like, if it goes wrong, it goes catastrophically wrong?
What was the game I kickstarted? Bloodstain, Ritual by Night. Or was it Ritual of Night? Can't remember. Anyway, in the early versions of that on the Switch, it would overheat them and brick them.
What?
Yes. Yeah. So like this was the early development sort of thing. So when you went to PAX or whatever and you were playing on the Switch, they have these huge giant heat sinks bolted. So you couldn't move the Switch at all. They had a huge heat sink bolted to the Switch just to keep it cool.
Was that in the like in the product that they were selling, or just in the demo product?
No, I think it was just in the demo product. But the point is that consoles, I don't know if anyone's aware of this, but consoles are like the easiest things to brick, right? I mean, what was it? 75% of all Xbox 360s red ring, right? And then what you call it, the EU forced Microsoft to extend the warranty to 3 years. Yeah. There's all sorts of shenanigans like this. I had an Xbox that red ringed. Yeah, it's.
Do you think that
nuts.
might be because consoles are generally made to serve over a longer period of time? So let's say I think it's like 4 to 6 years or something, if I'm not mistaken. Like that's how long a generation goes for. So when they release a console, it needs to have specs that kind of work 4 to 6 years down the line, when the PC market in that time grows pretty decently, so that they're always like pretty much pushing the edge of what's kind of possible and responsible, so that over time they do kind of break.
If I had to guess, older generations of consoles had no operating system. Like I know the PlayStation 1 did not have an operating system. It would be the game would interact with the hardware directly, right? So your game was like effectively doing assembler, right? But with, I think it was post, what's the name? The Dreamcast, right? They started including light operating systems. Now, you can still brick a PC, right? By getting the game to do something it shouldn't with the hardware,
Mhm.
right? However, operating systems for PCs are a lot more complicated. They're a lot more involved, and they know to recognize stuff better. Like, that's just not possible. You're asking me to do something that, I'm not allowed to do, so I'm not going to let you do it. But
Mhm.
I think with game consoles, the reason why we have certification periods for Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One is all because they need to make sure that the update for the game does not brick the console. So I'm pretty sure that when Digital Extremes or whomever releases an update to the game, Nintendo will have a Switch dedicated to just spamming input controls to simulate player gameplay or whatever, just to see if it bricks the console, and they leave it doing it for a week solid.
Ooh. I did not. Well, I would never have
That
guessed
is my guess. That is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Connor's like, I concur.
Yes. I saw a picture of Snom and I got happy.
Oh,
I'm really sad that my PC doesn't connect to the capture card, so I can show off like all the cool things. Connor has been sending like a lot of Pokemon pictures in chat. What is your favorite Pokemon of the new series, Connor?
Uh,
I think we need to go through the list.
I really like Snom. He's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one that you've just
He's
posted?
a little moth grub thing.
Hold on.
Sorry. Have you seen in the last icy area and even the wild area, the ice area, there's a Pokemon called Cub Chew. He's a little ice.
Tell you
Bear.
what, I'll actually put it up on the screen.
All right.
Cub Chew. Basically, a lot of the other Pokemon they've added new animations to. Cub Chew runs towards you with open arms like he wants you to pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can find that. He was. Yeah, I really like. It's hard to pick a favorite. I don't know. Let me just look at the Pokedex real quick.
All right.
My favorite is the stealth bomber. This is a dragon ghost, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Is this the one that's shooting out tiny
Yes.
lizards?
Yeah.
That-
So like
That's the one that needs to
This-
shoot out tiny losses. Right.
I'll call it the Loz Tube.
I love Wooloo, the sheep.
Oh, really? I like
I
the
love-
evolved version. I've only recently just seen it,
I'm just
but
looking through.
I don't actually have the Wooloo.
I like Seismitoad because it annoys Drew.
What?
I like Seismitoad because it annoys you.
Do you have a picture of the Seismitoad?
Yes.
Yeah, just throw out some pictures.
Yeah. So for those listening, we're looking right now at like a Pokemon, which is like a red and kind of bluish Pokemon, which has like a triangle as a head, and like there's some triangles on top of that where like tiny lizards come out. And here we have Seismitoad. It's a big toad with like big circles upon him.
So when just before we were starting recording, I was playing the game, and I was fighting this thing. Shall I come back to my webcam now?
Yeah, do it.
So I was fighting this thing, and it was kicking my ass against all my Pokemon because it was a ground water type, which meant that my fire Pokemon, my electric Pokemon, my normal Pokemon, nothing was working against this. Apart from my Golett. That was it, wasn't it? It was Golett, which I named Dwarf King. Because it was a Dynamax version of this Pokemon, and it was just destroying everything. And thus it became Dwarf King.
Nice.
Do you nickname your Pokemon?
Yes.
Do you have pretty obscene names for your Pokemon?
And no, they're actually pretty good. The one I posted earlier, Phalanx. I think that's probably my favorite Pokemon from this generation. But otherwise, no. I named them names that got to do with how they remind me of. Like my current Inteleon is called Splash because he's always just like cry and splash around when he's a Sobble.
I don't know what that one is.
Sobble's final evolution. He's like a super spy. Hatterene is Hattie because she has a
How do I look at the machine from your inventory?
what machine?
The storage box
Pokemon?
from the menu. Yeah.
Go into Pokemon, press, and then near your list, press the OR button, and it goes to your box.
Oh, the R button.
Yes.
Welcome to the FrameCast, where we're watching
I'm just
Drew's
like-
life's playthrough of
No.
us.
Right. I was just gonna name you some Pokemon and see if you can guess. Oh, he's walking away.
No.
The bastard's walking away. I was gonna like name some of the nicknames and see what he could guess the Pokemon was. But he walked away. The bastard. Put your headphones back on.
This is so fun. Oh my god. So we've gone, the Framecast has gone from us discussing the live service Pokemon thing to Drew like being on the Switch like this and Connor just walking
Walked
away.
away. Yep. Right. Okay. So Connor, are you ready for guessing which Pokemon is which based on the nickname?
Yes.
Okay. Angry Bird.
Oh, Corviknight.
It's actually the Rookity, the first of
Nice.
evolution, but it's going to become Corviknight, right? Corgi
Is that the Boltund or Yamper?
Yamper.
That's a corgi,
Well,
right?
Yeah. It's like the weirdest thing. Like I'm just going to tell you now that pretty much all these names come from the first evolution, right? Perfection.
I don't know what that could be.
Purloin.
Uh,
Yep. So it's perfection, right?
Oh, now I get it.
Yeah. Meow King.
Meow.
Right. I'm not gonna read that one out loud because it's rude. Clockface.
Golett? No.
Nope.
Clockface.
Golett is the Dwarf King. Clockface.
I don't know.
Hoot Hoot.
Oh, because he got the little things.
Yep. Dullblade.
Doublade.
No. What's the Doublade?
It's two swords.
No. It's the or maybe that's the evolved version of it. But it's the Ponerad? Poniard?
Oh, a poniard, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, let's talk about a topic instead of doing the guessing game. So that we can involve some more people than just the two of you.
But I like just being me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not really a podcast if like one person is just saying like, "This is my nickname," and the other person's like, "This Pokemon."
I was kind of hoping you'd actually throw some at me, but you know.
Yeah, but like we can't really show them off. So like for the people that don't know this that haven't played this Pokemon game, they're just listening to like, okay,
Anyway,
that's the nickname. That's not it. So let's talk about Sword and Shield. Which version do you guys have? Sword or Shield?
Shield.
Ooh. So how do you guys feel about like this tradition which Pokemon has had for the longest time where they're releasing 2 games, but actually they're not releasing 2 games, they're just releasing 1 game in 2 different versions?
I don't mind.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't see it. This has been something that's been established for the longest time ever, and it also encourages a community, that encourages interaction with other players, as opposed to like, you have Mario, I have Mario, and then you just walk your separate ways.
Have you ever? Oh, go ahead, Connor.
That's basically it. It's like, and they make it so easy that you don't have to need people near you to trade online.
Mm-hmm. I do have one concern when it comes to like the online aspect of the Nintendo Pokemon games, is that I had Pokemon Pearl, which had these online functions, but then they took away the Nintendo Wi-Fi servers, which was like the online thing, the thing that lets you go online with like Pokemon Pearl and any DS game. So now like that thing just doesn't exist anymore, and like I'm really worried that maybe the Switch will experience the same thing, where in a matter of like 5 years or something, you won't be able to go online anymore, and that would really suck. So I don't know.
Well, Pearl is a really old game.
Yeah, it's like 12 years old now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really old. That's not like the last generation.
It's like 3 ago.
Yeah, you've got Sun and Moon.
No, Black and White was after Pearl.
Yeah, and X and Y.
Yeah.
So you've got, that's 4 generations ago. Well, technically.
It feels some bloody recent, man. Get out.
What?
It feels really recent. But no, still, like, it's like, I mean, wait, I think it was 2008. It's almost 12 years. But still, 12 years after, it's not supporting online anymore. I'm worried.
I think after 5, I would be like, okay, just cut the servers.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is the thing. You can't play the online games for the Xbox the original Xbox anymore, right? You can't play the online games for Xbox 360 anymore, right? You can't play the online. Well, I don't know if you could play the online games for PlayStation 3.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
Yeah. You know, so like these sorts of services just up and go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole point of it is the owners of the service are making a tidy profit based on you paying a subscription fee to continue running it. However, if the subscriptions do not continue to cover the cost of the servers, then you're making a loss and you need to shut them down.
Mm-hmm.
Or be a champion and keep them going.
But that's why they made the Pokemon Bank, for the exact reason they said that they take down the things, that there would be some server you could just put all the Pokemon on between the generations.
Yeah,
one thing I dislike about the Pokemon Bank, though, is that it's an additional cost.
It's €5 for the year, though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's dirt cheap.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that cheap. Oh, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I'm fucking getting that now.
I didn't even know about it, but $5 a year for like being able to like toss all your Pokemon in and just have them continue on throughout all the generations.
I think the new Pokemon Home is going to be the same thing as well. I think it's going to be like only €10 a year.
Yeah, that's I thought it was like $5 a month, but
no.
Yeah, no, that's like, wow, that's dirt cheap.
Mm-hmm. Sekima says, I remember the day that the Halo 2 servers were taken offline, went on and played right up till it died.
I like that. It's a nice send off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here's a thought. How do console server shutdowns affect game developers like Digital Extremes, where you've got the game as a service, you're playing on the PlayStation 3, and then they're going to shut down the PlayStation 4 network for the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 6. Like, you know, what are Digital Extremes supposed to do? Will you be able to migrate from PlayStation to PlayStation?
I would say so.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you can't migrate from console to console. You know, the cross save is just like, they've explored it. They're really struggling with it because
I think they're more realistically exploring it.
What, cross save?
Yeah, cross save. So
no, they are.
Yeah,
but they are hitting stumbling blocks because of the legal ramification, which is absolutely mental. You know,
didn't Destiny 2 actually put in cross save recently?
Yes,
but Destiny 2 has a lot more capital behind it, and I don't know. I don't know if anyone here plays Destiny 2 cross save.
I do.
Right. So what's the premium currency conversion like?
I haven't even checked currency. I just want all my weapons and stuff.
Right. So one of the concerning factors, because Warframe's a free-to-play game, right?
Mhm.
All its currency. So say you're like, oh, I want to be able to get platinum on a discount. You can't get it on discounts on any platform apart from PC. So you log into PC every day to get a platinum discount, and then you take your platinum to the other platform, right?
Mhm.
That's Xbox, Nintendo. So that's Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony making a loss right there. Yeah. So how do you get around that legal mess, right?
Maybe the platinum that was purchased on the system stays on that system instead. Like coupon code, or the one that your plat is separated into.
Yeah.
Maybe the one that's not purchased transfers over.
Right. So what about the items that you pay for with the plat on that platform? So if you buy a Riven, right, for like 1,000 platinum, is the Riven allowed to transfer?
Or my Tenogen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe once the purchases you're purchasing with the vendor, which is the game owner, not Sony, maybe you can transfer over.
Actually, you're hitting a very interesting point with Tenogen, which, if you're here in the Pokemon Direction, you don't know what that is. We're talking about another game called Warframe, free-to-play Space Ninja game, where Tenogen is a like other side of the game where people create skins for Warframes, and they can sell them via the Steam store for, I think, $5 a skin or something.
7 for a skin, 6 for helmet.
All right, that was it. Conor does some of Tenogen too, so he knows a lot about it. But the thing is that on PC you can just buy it through Steam, through Tenogen, and then you can buy it for money. But on the consoles, D actually does like some sort of contract thing, because you can't buy it through Steam via PlayStation, so you buy it for platinum within the market. So with the in-game currency, you can buy it within the in-game market. But let's say that there is cross-save on this game, and I were to go out and buy platinum through the PlayStation Store, and on PlayStation buy with platinum the Tenogen skin. Would that also not hurt Tenogen creators?
No,
How so?
because
Better question. Are you allowed to elaborate?
I don't.
Then let's not go down this route.
I
'cause
can
know
elaborate
there are
to the point.
NDAs in place here.
Once it goes over to consoles, it's not our property anymore. I can say that, but
Yeah.
all the thing behind I cannot disclose. But
So
basically they own the rights on console.
Yeah.
What they do with the console thing is it's already been discussed and agreed with.
but is there, like, could you say whether, if I were to purchase a skin from a Tenogen creator on PC, then part of the money of me buying that skin goes to the creator?
Oh, well,
Yes,
on
because
PC, it's
that's
part of
through
the
Steam.
agreement with Steam Workshop. It's
Yeah,
done
yeah,
automatically
so-
by Steam, not by the game.
Yeah, so if I were to be on PC right now, I could only buy it through Steam by spending
Yeah.
money where part of that money goes to the creator.
Yes.
However, if I have cross-save and you can carry over items, and so I cross-save it on my cross-save account, and I go to PlayStation, I buy platinum from PlayStation, which goes to Sony, and the money goes to Sony and Digital Extremes, and then I spend that platinum on a skin,
Tenogen
or
on the
on
console.
Tenogen, on the same Tenogen skin, then that revenue, then you don't have that revenue split which goes to the creators. So just in this hypothetical, I don't want to like go down deeper roots or things you can't talk about, but just in like this scenario which I'm describing, would that not negatively affect the Tenogen creators?
Depends on where they bought it.
Yeah, so the big thing is, right, an
Mhm.
agreement has to be made between the artist
Mm-hmm.
and Digital Extremes.
Yes.
Right? So Digital Extremes can sell it on the console. That's, I
Mhm.
think, as far as we should take this conversation.
That's basically that's it.
Yeah.
They have the rights to sell it. They own the rights on that platform. If they were
Yes.
to do it similar on PC in another way, they would probably have to make another agreement as well. Because it's property, legal property. And that's why they
Yeah.
can't sell an item on the console without doing that agreement first.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not fishing for a response on this. Because like of the like how well Tenogen has actually exploded on PC, and I know that they're in a legally binding agreement with Steam. I do wonder, and again, not looking for an answer on this, I do wonder if there's a limitation to how long that agreement lasts, or whether or not it's indefinite. And that's a question I would want DE to respond to.
I have no idea. I would assume as long as the scheme is available and it's on Steam, that it's just the agreement.
Well, no,
doubt
I
it.
mean, my point is that, could DE turn around and just go, right, Telegen's off on Steam, now on its own platform. I'm pretty sure there's going to be. I don't think they can do that.
I don't think so.
So I'm wondering if there is a lifespan of them being able to do this and then being able to turn around afterwards and say,
technically
we're not going to renew this.
they could start doing it probably on their own thing if they wanted, like PlanetSide or whatever.
No, I think there's an exclusivity thing to it. If you're doing it on the workshop, you have to do it just on the workshop.
Oh, then they're legally bound.
So, is there anything you two like to discuss around the Pokemon Sword and Shield?
I want to know, right? Is there room for, let's say, Pokegen, where artists do their own variations on Pokemon?
No.
No. I mean, could that be a thing that people would want?
Maybe. Like, I think about it, like the way that they do the low polys and like the paint is just on it, they would need to make sure that the animation, because as soon as you change something, then the skeleton might not work. So you'd have to get
Do you think it's skeletoned?
Everything has their own unique animations.
Yeah, I think the animations are all hand done. I don't think they're skeletoned. I don't think they're rigged.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you have to put a rig into something to allow it to move.
No, but like, so you got two types of movement. You can either just cluster move the polygons, right? Or you could just rig it to a skeleton and then you like animate it through the skeleton when the polygons are bound to the various different parts of the skeleton, right?
That's usually the better way of doing it because it allows you more control.
Yes. However, looking at Pokemon, there are so many unique animations that you never see anywhere else, like on the Cinderace, so I do genuinely wonder, and there's so many lazy animations, I do genuinely wonder whether or not these are rigged properly.
I think that was probably also a leading case of why they do not do the full decks.
Yeah.
Because they're rigged, they're done, they're animated, they're painted, whatever texture model. That's a lot, like not just the modeling, but the animating alone. I think that they would probably rig them.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you would do this kind of stuff, and like it allows you to maybe reuse certain animations on certain maybe skeletons that are similar.
Well, I mean, another problem is that there are so many Pokemon that are wildly different, which is why, again, I think, it's not like you have a Warframe where you have head, torso, legs, arms, right? You're talking about this one has a really long, body. This one is a fucking dragon.
Yeah.
This one is a slug. This one is a honeycomb. This one is garbage. Literal garbage, right? Like, I genuinely think this is why I think that so many of them are hand animated, because I just think that the skeleton would either have to be something crazy awesome where it could, deform its structure really, really efficiently and well, or yeah.
But you also have like the teams, the amount of people they have, and the amount of time it took since they've been working on it, and it allows them to future-proof it as well. I think in investment terms, it would be better to have the rig there. So if you go in the future, those models and those rig will probably be able to work on different platforms, different consoles, whatever.
Yeah.
But having it in the library that you can just add new models to it, then later open them up, change the rigging if you need to. But I think that would be the best kind of practice to do rather than because like if you just do it hand by whatever, that animation could not work in like Maya 2018,
Yeah.
So I think that's why it probably also took so long. That's probably why they also had to cut things, because they probably rushed or they couldn't get them all done. So it's just easier to cut out. But they might, like if you look at some of the models in game, some of the models don't even have, if you hack the Pokedex, some Pokemon that's not available have skeletons and have rigging and have models. Some ones that don't, they just put a Pikachu as a placeholder. So like you can really tell which ones have been properly axed and which ones are hidden for now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to user generated input into Pokemon, maybe making Pokemon skins is a step too far, but is there room for user generated content within Pokemon? Do you think that there is a demand, and how would it take form? Would it take form in maybe like the suits or the clothes you're wearing or something, like the skins of the character which you're
Yeah, they could definitely do that. They just give you the skeleton of the body and say, put this on it. I think that would be nice.
I totally think there is room for this. I think like there was a Bulbasaur I saw recently. I don't know if it's legit or whether or not it's a just a fan creation, but it has it's sort of like, I think it's like black skinned, but has a pumpkin instead of the plant bulb,
Yeah,
and
it's
it looks, huh?
that's made by a fan.
It's made by a fan, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it looks absolutely brilliant. And I'd love to have that in game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not gonna happen.
Do you think
Yeah.
that there is a place for that in a single game, like a bound game like Pokemon Sword and Shield is? It's not a live service. So it's just one game until the next game comes out. Do you think it's not too much, like a lot of work for just like one game that's just gonna like be there for its lifespan until like the next game comes out? Isn't
Well,
this more like a live service thing?
Yeah, but that's why, we've already been talking about this should be a live service.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon should have live service facilities. Yeah.
I agree.
I'm trying to find a thing, but there's actually someone who made a leak when the game was announced, and he basically took 2 days to make a Pokemon in the new way in Maya with animations and the rough.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link. It's a very cool, interesting thing of how it could be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think one other thing that I would really like to see is improve. So this is something that Japanese games seriously struggle with in terms of multiplayer, right? They struggle to do proper multiplayer user experience, user interface.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember playing Monster Hunter World, and I'm just like, what is this UI? What cacophony has been unleashed upon my PC? And I do feel that
Hold on.
there is such a huge culture gap between, just basically everyone. I would have thought simplest UI is always the best, but I think with East Asia, a lot of content is behind menus, right? It's menu behind menu behind menu behind menu. Why is this on the front page? Why is it like 12 layers deep? I think I would like it if seriously the UX for multiplayer content in especially Nintendo games wasn't so janky.
I can appreciate that.
I've never heard of UI or UX, so I don't know.
Huh?
I've never heard of UI or UX. I wouldn't.
No,
You never heard of it?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
no, it's a deal of information architecture and kind of like onboarding on like what does a player need to really see at a point in time, like contextual information. I think the new Pokemon game is better at it. I do think it's much better. The menus are much clearer. The way they show you a new item and that kind of stuff is done very well. And it's just pleasing to the eye. They're not filling the entire space with text or there's a lot of breathing room, which I like.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Do we want to touch on anything else, or do we want to go to questions?
I think we can go to questions. I don't know how many people would have questions.
If anyone has any questions regarding the Pokemon game, regarding anything in particular, feel free to leave them down in the chat below here on Twitch. And yeah, let us know. And we'll answer some questions if they're there.
Is there any aspect of the game that you like really cannot tolerate? Hydroxate.
The new in Pokemon.
Yeah, in the new one. While you think, I really do not like how frequent the narrative derails you from. No, I just want to catch Pokemon. Just want to catch. I was like, oh my god, I see you caught this thing. Shut up! I'm trying to play the game. And he's like, oh, let me tell you my life story. No, I don't care. Let me play the game. I was like, oh, come look over here. Look over, see over there? That's a power plant, right? Is there any point to you telling me this? No? No? Okay, let me play the game.
I actually there's only one minus in the game. And you'll see his hair in the post game. You'll know when they see it what I'm talking about.
Right.
All right. I don't think we're getting any questions, so
yeah,
I think we are
done
for today.
So let's finalize. Let's conclude. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that the negative reception that the internet has had has been warranted?
No.
Right?
No, I don't.
Do
think
you
so.
think?
Go ahead.
Do you think that the game is? How would you compare this game compared to the last game you played and really enjoyed? Is it better? Is it worse?
Like not Pokemon, just in general.
No, Pokemon. Like, you know, if I was to compare this against Nier Automata, I'd be like, nah, fuck it, Nier Automata all the way. But no, I'm saying, like, you know, say your favorite Pokemon was
Sapphire.
Sapphire. There you go.
Alpha
right?
Sapphire. Alpha Sapphire.
Whatever. Right. Do you prefer Alpha Sapphire more to Shield, or do you think they're the same, or do you think they both have their highs and lows? Like, what's your feeling of this one compared to your last favorite?
I think the story was better in Alpha Sapphire.
Yep.
I probably enjoyed myself more in this game.
Right.
Like, I had more fun the entire story and more battle. I had a lot more fun. I thought it was more like all the Pokemon felt very alive. Like they looked like they acted in like real things, which I thought I was more like, yeah. For me, it was like when when you watch the anime as a kid.
Yeah.
This game was like the anime. That's kind of what it gave me that feel. Or like I'm watching an actual story. Watching the previous games. I think there was since they were like a different format, there's a bit of a like abstraction. Where this one was the first time, like, this reminds me of watching it for the first time as a kid. That kind of feeling I got, which I enjoyed.
I've got to say that I can't remember. I think it was like Black and White's generation was the last one that I truly properly played, and I enjoyed that. But I think that this has certainly brought Pokemon to a more modern way of gameplay, and I like it for that reason. Also, I like to just play with the idea that the currency is not in like yen equivalent, but it's actually in pound sterling equivalent.
Yes.
And everything is horrifically overpriced, and I like to blame Brexit for it.
Brexit.
Brexit, yeah. It's like it's Dexit, yeah. It's what you got, £11,500 for a pair of jeans.
Damn.
Thank Dexit.
Dexit. All right.
Yeah, Dexit.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel that graphically it looks very, very pleasing. It looks very good. It feels a lot less like the zigzag game that like it came from, where it's like you just have this top-down view and that's all you see. I think that when it comes to like the game mechanics, like they can they can modernize more. There's like a lot of things which are still very like bound by the way that things were done before because of the limits of like the Game Boy, like what it had, that you couldn't graphically display everything, so you had to like describe everything you were seeing. And I think they don't need to do that as much. But that would, as we saw with the Dexit, that would probably upset a lot of people as well. So like, yeah, it's a tough thing. It's something, especially with like this franchise running for so long and people appreciating so many different aspects of it and expecting that to be all be back. It's a tough challenge to change things around, which it definitely needs to if it wants to like modernize and innovate. If we look at some questions right here, let's go take a look at what we have. Sisaki asks, what I want to know is how does it compare to Skyrim?
I want to answer this one.
Go ahead.
Anything made by Bethesda is shit.
Woo!
Yeah, it's a controversy for you right there.
Yeah, but replace like Zamazenta and Zacian with a Thomas the Tank Engine, and then it's better.
I have no idea what you just said.
Legendaries. In Skyrim, you can
okay.
replace the dragon with a Thomas the Tank Engine. I would like that too. And
That would be beautiful.
Is there a train one?
Yeah.
There is a train. Oh,
train Pokemon?
yeah.
No.
Oh, why is there a train Pokemon?
There is. There's a bug type that literally looks like a metro car.
Is there a double-decker bus Pokemon?
No.
Is there a mailbox Pokemon?
No. You have a cup of tea and a pot of tea.
Like this is just not British.
Wait, I have a picture for you.
Okay.
Is there an empty wallet one?
Oof.
What?
It might be British.
Oh my god.
Hello.
Do you want me to put that up?
Yes, please.
Oh,
Put this
God.
thing up.
Okay, hold on. I need to zoom it out. There we go. Go F11, and then I go over here, and then I share my screen because Hydroxate made me share. There you go.
There we go. Let me see whether I can move me around so you can properly appreciate this one. I'll just see here. So yeah, it's just like Pokemon, like how Pokemon would look like if they're British Pokemon. So we have Deca,
British.
we have Double Deca, we have Big Ben, Big Massive.
No, Ben Big.
Oh, Ben Big, Ben
Ben
Massive. We have Nido Elizabeth. We have Nido Elizabeth 2. And we have Elo.
Second.
Elo,
Second.
the second. And then we have Elo.
There's a hello.
And it's actually Ben Massive.
Ben
Huh.
Massive. Oh, yeah, Ben Big, Ben Massive.
Yeah, you need to get the real broad, like proper Cockney slang. Massive.
Anyway,
that's what fan Pokemon would look like. Fan skin Pokegen, what that would look like.
more British. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I think that's all for today. I want to say thank you guys all so much for tuning in. And I also want to say thank you, Conor, so much for joining us today in the FrameCast.
Sorry, cheers, love.
Thank you. And yeah, we're glad you were
Fun.
along the ride for this Pokemon episode of the FrameCast. And we hope to see you next week as well for the live broadcast of the FrameCast, which is always on Tuesday on twitch.tv/MishaPostma. If you want to see the highlights, which are actually really good, it's just like 20 minutes or less than 20 minutes of just the most important segments of this FrameCast. It can be found on youtube.com/CasinoGedeon. And if you want to find the full version of this, really like as a video, it's on youtube.com/PostMaloneGames. Did I miss anything, Casino?
Yeah, it comes out the live version. So no, the recorded version comes out 24 hours after the live version. And if you wish to support both of us financially, because you know we're poor bastards, go to patreon.com/MichellePostma or patreon.com/XenoGalleon. And if you don't give a crap about us, but you like really fancy, pretty things in Tenogen, go to Steam, go to Warframe, and buy some Tenogen. And
From
you're more than
Hydroxate.
yeah, from Hydroxate. I mean, it's probably all Hydroxates anyway. You know, he has a lot of aliases like
Irish Daddy 94.
what's got Hitsusan. Crap, what was
Anyway, see you guys all next week. Bye.
yeah, bye.